In this episode, I'm going to be discussing one of the scariest driving experiences of my life whilst driving a twisty B road when it's wet, cold and muddy. Doesn't sound sensible, does it? Sounds a bit silly. But then, the best stories are silly, aren't they? Or are they? They are. So as drivers, we do have situations that can create some worrying possibilities, such as crashing. But my closest call, and I do mean my closest call, I thankfully didn't crash. Because had I crashed, I would have been dead. Now, let's set the scene when the engine's a little bit quieter. Oh, never. So let's set the scene. I'm on Bodmin Moor. I'm driving back from St Austell, Cornwall back to Exeter on the A30, and I'm going across Bodmin Moor. It's a ridiculously bad storm. It's a couple of winters ago now. I was in my Golf, and it was a very, very, very intense storm. Really, really windy, gale force winds, and I'm driving back at night, in winter, in a storm, across Bodmin Moor. Now, that in itself, sometimes, judging by some of the other drivers that I sometimes encounter on that route, is quite perilous anyway. But the wind was so bad that, you know, I was having to sit forward because the rain was so heavy to actually get a decent view. And I could feel the car being buffeted from all angles. It was absolutely horrendous. It's definitely, and I've driven in some bad conditions, it's definitely the worst conditions I've driven in. Definitely. Now, as I was driving, I was overtaking other cars, obviously. And yes, I was still driving around the limit because I wanted to get home to my wife. And I was approaching one of those huge articulated lorries. Like, not the articulated lorries that, you know, are just a big lorry. It was like one of those really high up ones, one of those really, really high ones. And, you know, a magnet for side wind, obviously. And I was approaching it, and my thought was, do I speed up or do I slow down? Do I slow down and carefully pass, or do I speed up and hoon past to get out of harm's way? I chose the latter. I chose to speed up to get out of harm's way. Was that the right call? Well, I'm still here. But as I was approaching, and I reckon I was about 50 yards away, probably less. I mean, I don't even know how far 50 yards is, really. Let's just say I wasn't that far away, neither was I on the bumper of the lorry. As I was getting closer, I saw what I can only describe as an actual, like, hand of wind grip the lorry, like, literally grip it. You know, it was horrendous. Like a hand of wind. Not something from like an Iron Maiden song or Black Sabbath with Ronnie James Dio fronting them. Like literally a hand of wind. And it was as if I could see it like sort of lurch around that lorry. And that lorry was pushed so hard, it went up onto just its right side set of wheels. Which, as I'm coming close to passing it would have meant that one little nudge, it would have slammed down on my car. Now, that lorry, the amount of sound, and it shook my car as it landed back on all of its wheels. Terrifying. The driver, like, I slowed right down. I put my hazards on because I thought that driver's probably had a heart attack. So I put my hazards on, slowed down, the traffic behind me slowed down. The driver in the lorry pulled over, thankfully, because that was intense. And I gingerly passed him just before he pulled over. So I could see in my rearview mirror he pulled over. So I gingerly passed him. And the rest of that journey, which was about an hour, I was, yeah, let's say it affected me. And to this day, it still affects me. Because I don't take risks with huge lorries when it's bad weather. I just don't. I pinpoint when's going to be the best time to do anything with it, and then I make a decision. Because that was truly terrifying. I've never seen, other than in a movie, I've never seen driving ever a lorry lift, or a car lift onto just one side set of wheels. That was a bad pothole. Alright, that story might be a bit banal because nothing actually really happened, but I've never seen anything like that happen in real life driving, and it was absolutely terrifying. It really was. It made me feel weird. It was that odd. Anyway, so I hope you enjoyed that story. If you did, watch more of my videos, because I do sometimes go off on random tangents of story. And yeah, subscribe, please subscribe, turn on notifications, please. Like the videos, comment, like I've said earlier in this video, comment about any experiences that have been near misses or close calls where you've just gone, oh, and it's really affected how you drive generally from then on. And until the next time, I've been me, you've been you, and well done for that.